Joining me now, Mark Leibovich, national correspondent for the New York Times Magazine and CBS News political contributor. Mark, these threatening the now former FBI director with these so-called tapes, it raises a lot of question. What do you think's at play here?
Well, it's certainly unusual. I mean, I think what's going on here is, I mean, the president is not acting in this case like a human being who has really gotten beyond this story. I mean, I think the question is, I mean, the obvious follow-up question, and so much as you can ask the follow-up question on Twitter, is did you tape it or not, Mr. President? And that's sort of the crux of this, because I don't think he's implying that FBI Director Comey taped this. So, you know, if you want to play that game, you can play that game. It's just an odd thing for the president to initiate on Twitter at the end of a week like this.
I want to ask you about the president contradicting his own team, as you had said, on the reasoning behind James Comey's dismissal. Again, you know, he suggested that the White House briefings be canceled. You think this is an empty threat? And what does this indicate when you're talking about the communications team here?
I do. I think it's a really, really bad message, certainly to the communications team. I mean, I think if you talk to most reporters, I mean, I don't think they really care if there's a briefing or not. I mean, this is not where we do most of our reporting anyway. You know, it's sort of become, in a way, theater, and also that there have been so many falsehoods, lies, misleading statements, whatever you want to call them, perpetrated from the podium over the last few months. It, I think, has cheapened the cachet a great deal of what a briefing can do. So, yeah, I mean, if he wants to think that's a threat, I think he can. But I think the larger point is, I mean, if you're Sean Spicer or Sarah Sanders and you go out there every day and either what you say is going to be contradicted or mocked, I mean, why should anything really be believed from the podium at all? I mean, you sort of cheapen the whole exercise to begin with, and then if the president's going to threaten to get rid of them, you know, what does that side even say about that? So, look, it's a very, very curious game of threats, but also what is he talking about? Yeah,
you know, on my way to work, Mark, I did see Sean Spicer lookalike Melissa McCarthy coming down in a podium, traveling. It was clearly an SNL was shooting, and then was
you actually saw that on the way to work?
I actually saw it on the way to work.
It was all over Twitter.
I saw it on the way to work.
Yeah, that was one of those, like, this is all one of those, are we dreaming or what? I mean, you have, I mean, it's sort of like you have reality just sort of clashing with parody, sort of clashing with, like, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly uncharted territory. I know that's become a cliche, but I think, you know, that the scene of Melissa McCarthy, you know, riding a podium in full Sean Spicer drag down whatever avenue it was, I think is one for the ages.
Looking forward to Saturday night, but before you go, Mark, I do want to ask you a serious question about this Russia probe. Actually, first about the FBI director. Now that they're looking to replace Comey, how does all this, the revelations, a Twitter tirade that came out today, affect the process of who he picks in next? It still needs Senate approval, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, look, I think quietly a lot of Republicans in the Senate right now have to be wondering, you know, where is this going? What is he doing? Either way, I mean, it does seem, at least from early indications, that Mr. Comey's deputies, you know, Mr. McCabe, you know, for starters, who spoke yesterday and who testified yesterday, are standing pretty firm, you know, behind their former leader, and also in committing themselves to a full Russian investigation, or investigation of the Russia ties. So, I mean, short of the president firing another FBI director, Mr. McCabe in this case, I mean, it's going to be a long process. Whoever the next nominee to be head of the FBI is going to endure a great and very rigorous Senate confirmation hearing. It's going to take a long time. So, in the meantime, I mean, I think the rank and file, if they're, I mean, I think a lot of this leaking, by the way, has come about through the rank and file. I mean, it hasn't been Comey specifically, I don't think, and I just expect that to continue, despite whatever the president is going to threaten them with.
Mark Leibovich, thank you for joining us, Mark.
Thanks for having me.